Hi, I'm Neil Hunt, the Digital Content Lead of TV Connect, and I'm here with Teresa Potocka,
Hello.
CEO and founder of Sensethefuture Pictures. Now, first of all, thank you for taking the time to join us. I know it's been a busy couple of days. You were on a panel yesterday which was defining quality of service, or looking at what the standard is now for a gold service. Can you give me a little bit of an insight into that?
That's right. So yesterday we were covering expectations as well of audience and whether the benchmark or the gold standard for quality of service does actually vary in accordance to the audience that is, accessing the content that you're putting in front of them. So I'm very keen to actually look at the hospitality world and compare the future of service that they've been talking about, in particularly in Norway, around the instantaneous aspect, the real-time aspect, the contact that you have with your customer. In that, of course, when your service is fluctuates throughout the day, that you can deliver on that service in exactly the same way. And this is, I think, where we are actually.
So what are the challenges around that? How do you move from kind of where we are now in kind of OTT and playback with the hospitality industry? What are the key gaps? What needs closing?
Well, it's almost exactly the same areas that you need to focus on: delivering in real time, and then managing and controlling that end-to-end delivery, in the sense that if there is an outage, you can manage that outage and the customer isn't affected by it. So you have an alert system in place that tells you that maybe there will be a problem at this time in the next hour, and can we ensure that let's say the front end, the quality of experience side is unaffected by the quality of service side.
So I guess how far are we from that? If 10 is the gold standard, where do most broadcasters and kind of channel owners sit now? If that gold standard is what the hospitality industry is, or the standard that they're setting?
Well, it's really very dependent on which territory and where it is that you're delivering your service. So I would say that, and also the content that you're delivering within that territory and to the audience that you're delivering it to. So I think we touched on millennials, and there's clearly a lot of discussion that the millennials have, and with Sky mentioning that they've had some learnings around what they were doing, and that the predicted outcome has led them to make some changes to as the expectations are higher at this stage.
So how are their expectations of that kind of millennial and kind of new audience? How does it differ from how it was in the past? I mean, obviously you mentioned kind of speed to service, and we certainly hear a lot about in terms of stickiness and customer retention, that idea of that they will drop you as easily as the next good piece of content that comes along elsewhere. How does that resonate within kind of quality of service?
You can certainly see that churn rates can vary, and that if there is a frustration with a service, you're more likely to your customer may then decide, actually, I'm not prepared to put up with this, and in fact it would be there's a much more of a seamless service where I can access similar type content that I would prefer to view. But then you also find that most consumers are now opting for more than one subscriber VOD service, if you look across at the figures. So there is the opportunity to improve and for that churn rate to be reduced.
And I guess finally, what is, where will we be in kind of 2 to 3 years with this? Is it all about chatbots and AI supporting that? Is it about having enough people in call centres to answer, so they're speaking to a real person? Or is it just about making sure that your services are robust enough that you have the kind of processes in place to predict outages, to predict spikes, that kind of thing?
I think having that robust service is absolutely critical, and by this point, you've learned what your customers, when you've got to that point and you can deliver that type of service, and there isn't, so you're minimising the impact on the customer, then you know enough about your customer to ensure that there isn't a an experience that they wouldn't necessarily want to be interacting with. So I think we are certainly in a position to move that benchmark one way or the other way, and we are controlling that end-to-end delivery, so we are in a position to help the customer have the experience they want.
And I suppose just one observation around that is that kind of idea that in the past, if your broadband went down, the quality of service would kind of not. Yes, okay. The actual service itself failing is the bad thing, but you'd be happy that somebody picked up a phone straight away to talk to you, even if they then said yes, but the engineer will be out on Wednesday. Whereas now we're kind of seeing much more of that need for immediate resolution. Is that driven by the kind of millennial audience?
I think in general you can say that there's been an increase in the number of viewers of VOD services right across every age group, but the figures I don't have at hand to go into that in detail. In which case, then the expectation, service delivery, and also improvements mean that we have that higher expectation. We are more likely to, want that instantaneous service to be in place.
Brilliant.
At every age group. So
fantastic. So, have you enjoyed TV Connect so far?
It's been very busy, and I've had a lot of meetings, and actually very serendipitously throughout. So, it's the minute I arrived in the building yesterday, I've had meeting after meeting, and then we had the session yesterday afternoon. So, it's been very interesting.
Brilliant. Teresa, thank you very much for spending the time with us.
Thank you.